Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
That kid is back on the escalator again.
Ain't gonna hurt.
Here's my boomstick!
Game over, man. It's game over.
Welcome to the Bargain Bin. He's your host, Ben Mason.
And he is your co-host, Sandra Luketic. And today we're talking 1989's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. We assume if you're listening to this episode, you have already seen the movie. And I have to ask you, dude, when was the first time you saw this?
Oh, dude, I don't even remember.
Really?
I would have been a kid. This was even pre, dad renting movies era. I just saw it at some point.
So it's one of those movies that you had seen, but no recollection whatsoever. Okay.
Multiple times. I'm pretty sure we did watch it at least once, renting it at some point prior to the 3 movies in a night days. And then I would have seen it on TV on a random weekend. I've seen this movie a few times in the past.
Yeah. Many, many times here. I do, however, remember the first time I saw it because it was probably in 89 or 1990 in a church basement. I don't know, any American listeners or anybody outside of Canada. I don't know how your scout system works, like Boy Scouts. But here you start off in what's called Beavers, and then you go up to Cub Scouts and then Scouts. So I was in Beavers at this time. And as a group event, we had a sleepover in the local church basement. And we would watch Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And I really wanted to see this movie. Didn't know anything about it. And then we watch it. It's over. And young me is like, I don't want to fucking sleep in a church basement. So I faked a stomachache and made them take me home.
I don't blame you, man. 89 was a different time. A bunch of kids, scouts, sleeping in a basement of a church.
Yeah.
That'd make me uneasy even today.
Yeah, thinking back, a bit shady. But no, it was a wholesome, fun time. But normally, we'll jump into notes right away. But I want to go over the director and the writers before you quiz me on shit I don't remember.
There you go.
The director, Sandro, is Stephen Herek, and I don't expect you to know that name.
Glad you're learning.
But he directed a movie that you have made references to throughout the entire history of the Bargain Bin.
That doesn't sound right.
Stephen Herek directed The Mighty Ducks.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah. And that energy is in this movie, I find. There's just a lot of fun, decent humor, good characters, but it's also written by Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon. Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon wrote all 3 of the Bill and Ted movies. Ed Solomon also wrote Super Mario Brothers and Men in Black. However,
I liked Men in Black.
Me too. It's a really fun movie. But Chris Matheson also wrote a Goofy movie.
Oh, man!
And is the son of Richard Matheson, who wrote my favorite book, I Am Legend.
Whew. Everything you just said from a resume standpoint is phenomenal, except for Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers is god-awful.
Hey, I bet you I can pinpoint one bad day that dude had in his life.
But no, what an amazing creative team right there. 3 names, all have made films that we cherish greatly. Mm-hmm. And I think that comes through in this movie too, albeit there are issues. But I'm glad we're finally covering this. It's been in our intro for, since episode 1. Strange things are afoot at the Circle K. Mm-hmm. So I figured it's about time we cover Bill and Ted.
Awesome.
So jumping right in.
Nope.
All right, I have to play this game. I tried to skip it. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I could tell. I think anybody listening could tell you tried to skip it.
Oh, it's my favorite part of the episodes.
Before we get into my quiz game, I just want to remind everybody you can head to bsbargainbin.com. You can find links to all of our socials, to our merchandise. And a quick heads up, if you're listening to this live, Ben is scheduled, provided everything goes as it should be, to be on the Rollin' Bones, that's Rollin Bones podcast with Ryan Howard this coming Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
It's going to be a fun conversation talking about the representation of D&D in film.
Mm-hmm.
I have my opinions, and for the first time, they will be voiced live.
All right, Ben.
Yes.
4 different actors' performances for this one.
Whew. Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Well, I know we have Keanu Reeves from Johnny Mnemonic.
Correct.
Did we cover another of his films?
Technically, yes.
Shit.
He was kind of in another movie.
Oh, man. I don't know.
I didn't expect you to remember this one, but he played the goalie in Youngblood.
Oh, God damn it. Yeah.
But he had such a minor role. I think he might have had a handful of lines total in the whole movie.
Yeah, he was French-Canadian in that, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Shit. That should have been an easy one. I'm not looking forward to the rest.
No. Honestly, I wouldn't have expected you to get Youngblood. Johnny Mnemonic, I would have been disappointed if you didn't get. All right, what else you got?
A big one, I think, in this movie is Al Leong.
Okay, yeah.
And Al Leong, I know we've covered him in...
It's a list. Sorry, go ahead.
Last Action Hero?
Yep.
Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Yep. You're halfway there.
Halfway? Oh, God. Action Jackson?
Yep. One left.
Oh, God. Shit, I don't know. What is it?
They Live.
God damn it. That's right.
All right. So you're halfway down the cast list, and I'd say you're 100 because I'm not docking you for Youngblood.
That was only half?
Yeah, I said there was 4 actors.
We haven't done anything with Alex Winter.
Incorrect.
Shit. Oh yeah, Lost Boys.
Oh man, I'm surprised you didn't get that one like right away.
I don't know, man. I blanked on that. That's my fault.
And
okay.
I don't expect you to get the 4th one. But I'm going to let you sweat it out for a second.
Is it a historical figure?
Nope.
Oh, God. No, I got nothing.
Bernie Casey, who played Mr. Ryan.
The teacher?
Yep. Was Commander Harris in Under Siege.
Oh, my God, he was.
And he was also Robinson in The Mouth of Madness.
Who's Robinson?
I don't know, man. I just look at this stuff up on IMDb.
I don't remember that character. Under Siege, though, like I should have picked that one up immediately.
It wasn't like generic Soldier 1. It actually had a name, so I assumed it was something.
Yeah, that was a bad showing for me. I need to.
No. I told you I didn't expect you to get the last one. You got the other 3. Just a little disappointing in the Alex Winter one. But
I blanked on the Lost Boys?
Yeah, you should be ashamed of yourself.
I am.
All right. Let's talk about Bill and Ted.
Cool.
All right, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Here we come.
No, it's Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Uh-oh.
Did you see Bill and Ted Face the Music?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Can't all be bangers, I guess.
All right, my stupid joke of naming the wrong movie we reviewed is over. Let's get on to Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
All right, time for the intro. What is this intro? I hate it. A weird obelisk-like formation descending from the sky into Superman's Fortress of Solitude.
It's letting you know that this movie is going to be a gem.
Because you look at the cover of like the VHS or the DVD, this is not what you expect. But luckily for us, it's short-lived, and we cut to Rufus, played by George Carlin, welcoming us to San Dimas, California in the year 2688, where they have clean air, clean water, clean dirt. Sounds good to me. But good water slides always catches me off guard. I've never, ever cared for water slides, probably because, my inability to swim.
Is that meant to be like a tap on the nose moment in reference to water loop?
It has to be.
Okay.
I never got the whole water slide thing. Were you a fan? You swim, right?
I know how, right? What is this question?
Or no, like, what is the appeal? Every time I watch this, like, I just don't get it.
Water slides are fun, man.
Why?
Why are slides fun? Where's your childhood?
Oh, well, you assume I had one. I grew up in the country. There are no slides.
All right. Sorry.
I don't know. I just
I love this right from the start, though. I don't like dating things. I'm not going to get into that again. But I love seeing a movie where in the future they're like, everything's great. Not, oh, the world is in ruin.
Yeah, it's not common.
No, thank you. Something nice. Yay.
Well, and that's the whole feel of this movie is upbeat, positive. Even when things are looking rough, they're still joking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's never any like downtrodden sentiments in this movie. But this expedition dump continues, and Rufus tells us that he has to keep teenagers from the past, Bill and Ted, on the right path or their current society will cease to exist. Now, as a kid, I'm hooked right away because that seems kind of foreboding. And I mean, looking at the cover, like I said before, this looks like a rock and roll fun time. So we cut to Bill S. Preston Esquire, played by Alex Winter. Esquire, I never got. I'm pretty sure it's a lawyer thing. And Ted Theodore Logan, played by Keanu Reeves. The year, 1988. And our boys are in the garage attempting to make a music video for their band Wild Stallions.
With no song.
No song. No skill. No drummer.
No.
But I thought it was the coolest band name at the time. And what a great introduction to the heroes of our film.
This is the perfect introduction for Bill and Ted because no matter how lousy they are as a band at this moment, it doesn't stop them from being enthusiastic. And
they are having a blast.
Like their characters are just like 80s non-stoners having a great time.
Yeah, it's weird you say non-stoners because
they're stoners, but they're not.
Exactly. Exactly.
I couldn't think of a term for it.
I don't think there's any reference to weed at all.
No.
And they're so charming. And like I have written right here, the way they speak, the wordiest non-stoners I've ever heard. And they suck at music.
Oh yeah, no, it's terrible.
Blowing fuses, smoking themselves out of the garage. I love the debate of what comes first, Eddie Van Halen or a triumphant video.
Neither.
Learn
your instruments.
Which they come back to later as well. That day at school, Bill and Ted fail miserably in history class. When quizzed upon historical figures, we get that Napoleon is a short dead dude. Joan of Arc was Noah's wife. And Caesar is a salad dressing dude.
And they actually have the audacity when the teacher is telling them that they're failing. And by the way, this teacher is super supportive and nice in my opinion.
I agree.
Right? But they have the audacity to be like, thank you for everything you've taught us. If I'm the teacher, I'm like, oh, God, I suck at my job.
But what they throw out is interesting to me because they're getting all of these terms correct and then don't for the rest of the movie. Like right down to Socratic method.
Well, it's a Keanu even says in the movie, he's like, thanks for teaching us who the Socratic method is.
Yeah.
It's not a person.
The world is full of history.
So which one is the stupider one?
I think they're on par.
Oh, I'm leaning Ted, man. I get potential from Bill. He seems to come up with the ideas, which is in and of itself an intelligence. But he's also the one who often corrects Ted. Maybe he doesn't know the right information, but even when they're studying, and Ted says, "Oh, I can't even remember right now something," and about Moby Dick, and Bill actually knows, like, no, dude, that's
Captain Ahab.
That's Captain Ahab, man. Like, he actually knows something.
Yeah, that's true. And he is the one that tries to fix the phone booth when it breaks.
Exactly.
The problem, Sandro, is that if they don't get an A+ on their final oral report the next day, they'll flunk history.
Correct.
So yeah, we know going in, it's a time travel movie. It throws a convenient wrench in the gears that this whole thing takes place in just over a day. But this also makes me think, with everything they go through in this movie, by the time the history report comes around, how are they not completely fucking exhausted?
It's a movie, man.
I know. And it's just plot convenience. It's fun. You can't take it too seriously. But these guys are at a constant energy level that doesn't really dip at all throughout the movie. And it works for the story, but I have to commend them on this. Both actors, like Alex and Keanu, they command your attention throughout the entire film. Also, going back a step, trivia, no one really knows who Noah's wife was. Hinted at in the Bible, but never stated, so nice touch. The report for tomorrow.
Yes.
Explain to your class how an important historical figure from each of your time periods would view the world of San Dimas, 1988.
Correct.
I would have fun with that report.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would be too bad. You just got to think outside the box.
Exactly. Oh, I assume that was a pun, or else I'm just expecting things now.
No, I said box, not booth. Come on, man.
Phone box, that's what some people call it. We meet Missy, Bill's stepmother, who was a senior in high school when they were freshmen. What a mindfuck that would be. Confrontation between Ted and his father, Police Captain Logan. What's your stance on this dynamic?
Man, you just skipped over a couple of scenes there pretty quickly. Because definitely the introduction of Missy is a lot more fun.
Yeah, but she's unimportant.
No, but it's a fun scene. I think more for the dad, right?
Well, we haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, we haven't?
No.
When do we meet Missy? Oh, right, in the parking lot. Jeez, I just watched this again. The dad is a jerk, Captain Logan.
Yep. Straight up. He's a complete asshole.
Yeah, that's
way too high stress.
I don't really have much to say. He tells him if he flunks that he's going to military school, which I guess is fine from a disciplinary standpoint. But he's a jerk. And he blames Ted for stealing his keys, which at this time, you have no reason to believe Ted stole your keys.
Yeah. Even Ted's like, no.
Well, because he hasn't.
Exactly. It's a weird throwaway that I think a lot of people miss. Like, they completely forget about it until that reference at the end.
Yep.
Honestly, military school for failing history seems like a harsh punishment, especially in Alaska.
I could be wrong, but I got the impression that if they failed history, that they would flunk.
Yeah.
Like, overall.
That's what's implied.
Yeah, okay.
Rufus is sent back in time to stop the two teams from being separated, as we've covered. What is your thought on the phone booth as a time machine?
It's not the first time we'll see it. It's not the last.
Okay. That's it?
What do you want me to say? It should have been a DeLorean? What do you want from me? It's a time machine.
Originally, it was a van, but they changed it because Back to the Future came out 4 years earlier.
Oh, okay.
But a phone booth just seems really strange because if it was a van and they changed it because they didn't want people to associate it with Back to the Future, I don't think a phone booth is the right call, but I guess no one seems to care about Doctor Who.
The right call? I see what you did there.
Yeah, see? I can do it too.
I don't know. I think it works because it gives you the opening to use the phone book and dialing the different numbers to get to the different eras.
I have a big problem with that too.
It's not something that I have a problem with, but it's not anything I think is fantastic. It just is in this case.
Okay. And honestly, it's so ridiculous that it works for these two guys.
Yeah.
Next is a scene of the boys trying to study, but end up staring at Missy's cleavage.
Okay, that's the scene that I thought we were going to be talking about.
Yeah, because my next note just says, is Bill's father a creep?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
The most disturbing thing here is not that Bill's father married somebody, I would say probably less than half his age.
Mm-hmm.
It's that he fucks her in his son's room.
Yeah. Yeah. And Ted even calls it out. He's making it in your room. Remember when I asked her to the prom? Bill's just like, shut up.
Yeah, I mean, you would constantly rib your friend if that were the scenario, though.
But she even mentions, like, when they're talking about what they're studying for,
Mm-hmm.
and they say, oh, like, Mr. Ryan's history class, she's like, oh, I haven't seen him in a while. Tell him I said hi. And it's like, just, are they trying to imply that, like, she fooled around with teachers? Like,
I think so. I really do. Because that comes up at the history report, too.
the only thing that would have been better is if we found out that Bill's dad was a teacher and or president at the school, or principal at the school.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense. It would make the movie a lot more disturbing.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be a throwaway comment, and honestly, it's just me being silly. Like, this is just what I was expecting to be said when I was watching it.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if that was like a reveal at the end of the movie. But strange things are afoot at the Circle K, Sandro.
Mm-hmm.
And after a bit of studying, which I'll get into in a sec here, the boys finally meet Rufus. But seeing the guys sitting on the curb, just asking strangers random history questions,
Yeah.
things aren't looking well for the guys.
No! I love how they asked the one lady, and she's like, how do I know when the Mongols ruled? I just work here. Why? This is the best idea you guys could come up with?
Well, I guess to them that's studying.
And even before Rufus shows up, they're like, oh, this isn't working. Let's go try the Thrift Mart or Thrifty Mart. So you think that the issue with your plan was the location?
And then they meet their future selves who tell us, the viewers, what we're in store for. That phone booth is crammed full of people. Mm-hmm. And I love how they keep it just kind of out of focus enough that you can't really see what's going on. You just see that there's like arms and faces pressed up against the glass.
Yeah, and then a couple, it's like the back is to you, so you can't determine ahead of time what it's going to be.
Exactly. They introduced Bill and Ted to Rufus. And my question here is, who introduced them to Rufus?
What do you mean?
Rufus never introduces himself to Bill and Ted. They learn Rufus's name from future Bill and Ted. But how do future Bill and Ted know what Rufus's name is if he hasn't introduced himself?
Yeah, I'm sure they got it at some point.
That doesn't make any sense.
Calm down. There's a lot that doesn't make sense, man. If you're going to get caught up on plot holes in a movie where they just completely...
There's so many.
Like,
so many in this.
Explain to me why right now Rufus tells them that they can travel anywhere in time, but time where they currently are will just continue moving forward.
Yeah, I don't know.
Exactly.
That brings up a major problem when they remove historical figures from their times.
Yeah, there's a lot that, like, and I know it's coming from me, like King Nitpick, that you just got to let go or this movie will never work for you.
Yeah. Kind of like future Ted reminding present Ted to wind his watch.
I love it because I watched it in both times, like when he shows up the second, like, because they show both sides of the conversation eventually. Mm-hmm. And both times Ted looks at his watch and touches it, but doesn't wind it.
I don't know why he has a wind-up watch.
It's the 80s, man.
Yes.
This was just one step up from a sundial.
The 80s, the mid to late 80s was the peak of shitty digital watches. I do not see Ted Logan as a man to wear a wind-up watch. He is 100% like Circle K, Casio, digital watch guy. And it honestly, doesn't have anything to do with the plot because, yeah, it comes up again, but we already know it was an issue, so why reference it twice? And why even have it all together? Why not just say, oh, they lost track of time? That fits with the theme of the movie.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, they don't, and they almost do it in a charming way where the movie's like, you know what? There's a lot of plot holes here. There's a lot of issues, especially with the time travel. We're going to address it, but never explain it. And it just is what it is.
And I guess, yeah, overall, it does work very well.
Mm-hmm.
So the three of them go back in time. 3 of them? 2 of them. Why did I think Rufus was there with them? Anyway, first stop, Austria, 1805, right after the French have invaded.
But Rufus is with them at this time.
Okay, perfect. So the 3 of them. They immediately leave, but Napoleon is dragged back to present time with them. But I don't understand how. He's just...
Because he jumps on the time machine?
Okay, I thought he was, like, sucked into the weird void with them.
I got the impression, and I could be wrong, that he kind of like did one of those like leaps towards it as it was like sinking or whatever it does, and he just kind of like jumped on top of it type thing. And if I'm wrong, whatever.
Let's go back in time and change it. Rufus leaves them the time machine, the only tool they'll need to pass their history class. Would you ever get into a time machine?
Can we talk about this for a second?
Sure.
So he explains to them what's going on. Beautiful touch by having Napoleon's legs dangling out of the tree behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And then gets in the time machine to, whiz away and bring back an empty time machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
When his goes to leave as the worst fake mannequin in the machine that is supposed to represent George Carlin.
Never noticed.
Oh my God, it's horrible. It's if you look at the time machine when the door closes as they get the special effects started for have it disappear, it's awful.
I'm gonna pause for 1 second here because I'm gonna look at that.
Sure.
Okay, I took a second to go back and take a look at this mannequin, and you are right. That is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
You should consider yourself lucky for having missed it all those times.
Years.
I've ruined it for you now.
Terrible. A question for you, though, is would you ever get in a time machine?
In this circumstance, I think I would. Based on everything that I had just experienced?
Yeah. I think I would, knowing that I would probably fuck up everything.
These guys don't seem too worried about that.
They don't seem too worried about anything.
Oh, they're worried about Ted having to go to military school.
Bill comes up with the idea of kidnapping historical figures to use them for the report. It's kind of out of nowhere, but perfect. They leave Ted's little brother, Deacon, to look after Napoleon.
Well, what a great idea. We're going to take all of the historical figures with us moving forward, but this one we're going to leave because humor.
Yeah. I hate the Deacon character, too. That little brother's a piece of shit.
He already does more than you could really expect from him. Be like,
I guess.
You watch this guy. No. Like, I have my own things to do. What is this?
Yeah, which he doesn't, because he's a kid.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know what he is.
And he makes things even worse later on.
What is he? Like 16, 17?
No. That's how old Bill and Ted are.
They all look the same age to me.
Confrontation with Ted's father again.
Okay, this is where the dad really pissed me off.
Yeah, me too.
You said if he flunks, and now you're telling him, Pack, we're going. You didn't even give him a chance, man.
He also tells Ted that he's not allowed to leave the house until tomorrow morning. So how is he supposed to write his report with Bill?
I mean, technically, Bill could come to their house. If
it seems like he's grounded, basically, though.
Well, yeah, but,
Shut up, Sandro. A certain Deputy Van Halen interrupts the conversation, calling the captain to the station.
This captain's a moron, too.
Yeah. One thing I love about this, though, is can you imagine it doesn't work and Bill tries to do this solo, sending himself back in time without Ted?
The dad just looks out the window and sees Bill standing in their front lawn in a phone booth. I'm getting my gun.
Police shooting. The boys escape and go back in time, where God, they discuss getting Sigmund Freud and Beef Oven, which is one of my favorite mispronunciations of all time.
Yeah, the spelling does throw you off, but
Okay. It always irritated me, though, that Ted doesn't fully close the door to the phone booth. And I know it's a weird thing to be fickle about. Like, what if they arrive back in time as a pile of goo in the booth just because he didn't close the door? But I understand the glass doesn't even touch the floor of the phone booth, and there's a gap at the top, too. It just seems strange. Like, I would make sure if I was going to go back in time in a phone booth, I had everything secure. I'm taping down the receiver to that phone to the actual phone itself, making sure that door is in locked position, and I'm hanging on for dear life.
calm down, man.
Yeah, I get pretty stressed about stupid things.
I mean, the phone booth doesn't just travel through time. It clearly travels by location as well, because it's never just the same spot.
Which I don't get at all. And that really irritates me.
If you want to get like all crazy about it, you could be like, well, why didn't it just land in the ocean one time? Or how does entering the number of when they want to go determine where they go as well? Like, you just gotta let it go. And this is coming from me, man.
Yeah. Because like our usual use of time machines is it takes you to a different point in time, same location.
Unless it's built into a DeLorean.
Exactly. Well, even then,
it travels at the same spot. It just moves before and after because it's a car.
Exactly. But you're not picking like different locations around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a fun twist on the use of a time machine that's never actually addressed.
And like I said, the movie knows it, and they're just like, yeah, we don't care. Just
whatever.
Watch for what you're watching for. This isn't a science experiment.
They abduct Billy the Kid from New Mexico in 1879. And I love them walking into that saloon and being like, just try to act natural. Because they definitely blend in.
I love the little touches. When they order the beer and they're like, he didn't even card us. It's like, yeah, because they wouldn't have had those, right? Like,
yeah, no.
This movie has such a fine attention to detail that it makes me very, very sure that all of the little nitpicks that we have about the plot holes aren't something that just slipped through the cracks. They were like, whatever, we don't care.
No, Matheson and Solomon know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And like, while I do love to nitpick at things, not as much as you, but apparently in this movie, it's me more so. They're well aware that people are going to try and do it. And they write things out in a way where it just doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's almost like their writing is pretty much saying, yeah, that's what we're doing. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. It's
like, they don't care. Yeah, it's fine.
It's
fine,
a challenge
whatever.
they know no one's going to try and come at them for because you're just having too much fun watching the movie.
Yeah. They didn't write this movie for two schmucks that were going to be reviewing it on a podcast in 2022.
And I like, as critical as I want to be, I just can't.
Exactly.
Well, it's time for poker, and the stakes are explained. What I win, I keep. What you win, I keep.
Why would you agree to that?
Well, that confused me as a kid, but it makes so much sense right now because he is getting them to side with him in rigging a game. So it'll be 3 against 2, basically, stealing all of the other people's money.
Yes. But you'd still think you'd cut the people in for that.
But he's Billy the Kid.
Well, there's some inconsistencies here as it is.
Sounds good, Mr. the Kid.
Well, they're for it. They're super chipper. They got their beers. They're happy.
The look on Ted's face when he gets like 3 aces or something. Hilarious.
It's Bill that gets 3 aces.
Is it Bill?
Yeah, because Bill tells
Ted that he needs
Bill tells
face.
Ted, you need to have a poker face like me, and then kind of gets all like serious. And Alex is killing it in these scenes, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then sees the 3 aces. He's like, oh, I got 3 aces. And obviously it's
right.
like what just happened to like your poker face statement like a second ago, right? Like it's quite charming.
Well, upon the realization that they're being cheated, the other players start a bar fight, and they just bail. immediately. Because we have another stop to make, and that's Athens, Greece, 410 BC.
Now, I just want to touch on their escape for a second here. Billy the Kid agrees to go with them because they saved him back there. I'm assuming he's referring to when they were cornered against the bar and the guys pulled the other people's hats down.
Yep.
But should he not be angry that they foiled the plan in the first place? Like, you wouldn't have needed saving if these two didn't muck it up.
I don't know. I don't think I'd hold someone accountable for messing up a poker game if they immediately afterwards saved me from being shot in the face.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Oh.
I don't even know how the guys playing poker assumed that they were cheating just because Bill got excited and shouted his hand. It's like, are you cheating us? It's like, no, this guy's just an idiot.
Well, I think one of the other guys had 2 aces.
Oh, did he?
I thought so.
I missed that entirely then. Okay.
Which makes 5 aces in the game.
Okay, now I understand how they would think that they were being cheated. Yes.
But in Greece, Billy the Kid is seen playing with a Nerf football.
This was in the phone booth.
Out of nowhere. Where was there a Nerf football in the phone booth?
It was there from previous travels.
Yeah. Rufus left it.
Yeah.
He sent it back in time with them.
Yep.
Well, it's time to beg Socrates. They deem it best to philosophize using lyrics by Kansas.
I mean, it's a good song. But.
Yeah. I love how Ted personalizes it, so it just works for his character.
The thing I don't understand is how they make it quite clear there's a language barrier throughout the movie. So it doesn't matter what the lyrics are.
Yeah, he's just picking up a handful of sand.
Yeah,
and
I think the thing that was more convincing was when Bill picked up the sand and just blew at it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I love jumping from all we are is dust in the wind, dude, to like sand through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
And that was Socrates, too, that says it.
Yeah. Which is a nice reference to Days of Our Lives.
Yeah, it's just one of those silly things. You want to nitpick that, too?
No, I was going to say that the actor that plays Missy was also on Days of Our Lives.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You want to nitpick that, too? Give me a break.
It's been your MO. I mean, you're such a nitpicker.
Okay. Next, England, 15th century. We see the princesses. Fine. Hiding in suits of armor seems to be impractical.
Yeah, I'm calling BS on them being able to spot those princesses that well from a distance. Like, they must have needed, like, a telescope or something.
What are you talking about?
It's, like, far away and up in the castle. They don't have that good vision.
It's not that far.
It's, like, so far away.
You're saying I'm nitpicking, and then you're bringing up minimal distance differences.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do we know that Bill and Ted have perfect 20/20 vision?
Yes.
We don't know that.
They're
Maybe
teenagers.
Ted missed his last eye test and he needs glasses.
God. No, he doesn't. Okay.
You don't know that.
I know, all right? It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter if they need glasses because they missed an optometrist appointment. Like it.
You need to calm down, man.
Purpose. What? Yeah, okay.
Just have some fun with this movie, man. I don't know what you're taking it so seriously for.
Yeah, you're right. This is all my fault.
Yeah, I'm glad you see it that way.
Yeah,
you must have perfect 20/20 vision.
I do, actually. Them playing in the suits of armor is pretty funny, I have to say.
They just have a blast no matter where they are or what they're doing.
It's the Star Wars reference that really got me. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Well, there's a few of them.
But it's right before while they're doing their attempt at the lightsaber duel with their swords, where they refer to each other as Darth Ted, which is great, but then Luke Bill. It's so stupid. It made me laugh so hard.
Yeah, they're just having a blasty blast of a good time.
And what really makes that heightened is immediately afterwards we get a misdirect of Ted being killed when they're found.
Okay, this is one of those moments where I actually had to go back. Okay, because obviously we find out right? You see the soldiers getting stabbing the armor. Bill gets angry. He gets into a fight. Ted ends up saving the day by hitting the guy over the head coming out of nowhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the whole time, I'm like, did it act like he says he fell out of his armor? Did he? And then I went back and it's like, if you look at it closely, it does look like that armor doesn't have anything on it. And there's just like a piece of cloth draped over the one leg.
Yeah.
Great attention to detail.
Yeah. I have always had a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't know how you fall out of armor falling out of the stairs, but I was more concerned with, did they actually make it look like there was someone in the armor or not when it got stabbed? Because I like to focus on weird things.
Yeah, it's called nitpicking.
No, that's your thing, man.
Yeah, okay. But I never liked the idea of him falling out of the armor because they're belted in.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I remember as a child being very distraught at the idea that I just saw one of the main characters get stabbed to death.
Well, that guard's an idiot, because if he fell out of his armor, then he's just stabbing empty armor. And he's saying,
you
like,
would notice it.
Yeah. And he's like, look around, there might be more of them. It's like, my first reaction would be like, who threw this armor down the stairs? Yeah, in fact there was armor without a body in it.
Next thought, who's making this shitty armor?
Because it got stabbed right through.
The sword goes through so easily.
Yeah, that didn't protect anything.
No, just slows you down.
Oh, man.
It is now time to help the princesses escape arranged marriages.
To some ugly royal dudes.
Yeah. Par. Obviously, we see this coming. They're going to get caught. But they're rescued from being beheaded by Billy and Socrates,
who conveniently knew that it was time to go and dress up as the executioners.
Yeah. There is one thing here that we see, I think for the first time in the movie, that we'll see throughout the rest of the film.
Okay.
And that is how fucking happy Socrates looks throughout the rest of the film.
Oh, Socrates has no idea what's going on, as he clearly doesn't speak English. But he's having a blast. And I love how he's having fun. Billy is often throwing out terms that Bill and Ted use. Like, they're just like, all right, you know what? We're in this. Might as well just roll with it.
100%. And Socrates, who you just expect to be a very intense, philosophical being, just has this childlike smile of wonder and excitement throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, everybody knows that philosophers and philosophy students are completely serious and don't have fun.
Also, looking through these notes, you have no idea how hard it is for me not to say Socrates. Billy randomly dials a number and the foursome wind up in the future, where they're viewed as the saviors of society. And this kind of reminds me of the book you got me to read for the very first time years ago, which has become one of my favorites, H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. And it's how the Eloi react to the time traveler. And it has to be a nod to that book. It just has to be. But the next time they enter the booth, the damage it has suffered sends them into the unknown.
Yeah, because as they were escaping that medieval time, the guy with the mace hits the antenna. I'm surprised they made it to the future. Or maybe that was an accidental destination that they were knocked into.
Yeah. Convenient, though.
Yeah. And then that whole scene in the future, I find oddly, tranquil and benevolent.
Mm-hmm.
And, some music starts playing, and it feels like it's supposed to be such a, monumental moment. But they just meet the future. And it's just like, you got me. It's so invested. And then when I think about it, for no reason at all, but you did it anyway.
I do love how these three people we meet, the three most important people in the world, are all famous musicians. It definitely works for the movie. What also works for the movie, for me anyway, is when we cut to present day where Deacon and friends have taken Napoleon out for ice cream. Mm-hmm. And we get the entire scene of the Ziggy Pig.
Mm-hmm.
Chanting Ziggy Piggy, eat the pig, eat the pig. This French military leader is absolutely terrified.
Until he eats the ice cream, then he's having a blast.
Sheer terror until he gets a taste of ice cream, and then he's just a bully. How did they get him to the mall? Oh yeah, he's like smacking spoons away so we can eat the rest of the ice cream.
Yeah, well, he's just a bit of a pig. That's all.
Fuck Napoleon.
Well, that's not very nice.
How did they get him to the mall though? I think that would have been a funny scene.
I have no answer.
Really? Can't come up with anything?
Nothing clever. No.
Is this where we are now?
I'm not a funny person.
We didn't make it to episode 100. We're done. This is the end of it. Get that time machine. We need to figure out how they got him to the mall. Come up with some ideas.
Or we could just let it go.
No.
Oh, man.
I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
Sorry, everybody. I've killed the podcast.
Come up with something funny right now.
No, don't do that.
The four dudes end up in Vienna, Austria in 1901 and add Sigmund Freud to the mix. Hate it. Next, Kassel, Germany, 1810. Time to grab Beethoven. I love how he's playing for a room full of people who are distracted by the time machine's arrival, but he was so deaf at this point, he didn't hear a thing, and they just carry him away on a stool.
No, that's not true. He didn't go completely deaf until 1814.
Yes, I know. But they play up the fact that he can't hear them, which has nothing to do with the fact that he doesn't notice the flashing lights that are surrounding everybody.
No, I thought he was just really into his music.
Yeah, apparently.
He was jamming, man. He was feeling the vibe.
Next is Orléans, France, 1429. This time Joan of Arc. Then Outer Mongolia, 1209, where they get Genghis Khan.
Al Leong, what took you so long?
Who's lured in with a Twinkie. Where they got that from, who knows? Same place as the football.
I mean, he follows that Twinkie with his club in the air. He became very non-violent very fast.
He has no idea what a Twinkie is.
No, but he looks like he's ready to attack. What did they do? Give him the Twinkie? And then he was just like, oh, you know what? This is delicious. Never mind.
Take this confection. White House, 1863, where they grab Abe Lincoln. And, well, they don't. Genghis Khan does. He just grabs him by the collar and pulls him into the phone booth.
It's like, we should have got this guy first.
Yeah, really. So now they're all just hanging out of the phone booth during travel?
And you were worried about the door being open.
I know, right? Like, how is nobody shitting themselves?
They might have. It's just that the shit went to another time.
Can you imagine? What is all of this shit? They realize the antenna of the booth is broken and have no idea what the next stop is. So we just cut to Napoleon cheating at bowling, and then Deacon and his friends ditching him at the alley.
I don't blame Deacon. Napoleon's a bit of a jerk.
Yeah, he is. Bill tries to fix the antenna while they're stuck in San Dimas, 1 million BC.
Only thing going through my mind is, oh man, I'm so glad that Ted grabbed 12 puddings today.
Yeah. Where was he keeping them?
Where was that backpack?
I have no idea.
Must have been where he got the Nerf ball from.
So we've got the Nerf football, we've got Twinkies, we've got cans of pudding and chewing gum.
It was all in the backpack.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Bill's trying to fix the antenna. Instead, he just breaks it more and has to fix it with the gum and cans. They land at the Circle K the night before, and we get Bill and Ted encountering themselves again.
This is another stroke of Bill's genius. Like, he did fix it.
He tried, and it happened to work. I don't think he didn't know what he was doing. You can't credit him,
man.
No. We do find out what Bill was whispering to Rufus at the beginning of the movie, and that's why they ended up where they ended up, and makes no sense to me. But he had to dial one number higher to end up in San Dimas the next day.
Yeah, it's a real problem.
And again, yes, this is a nitpick. I don't like this whatsoever. But this implies that you're going to run out of numbers to dial. So this time machine is actually limited.
Or you don't know how many digits they have to enter for each one.
I guess.
You're so nitpicky.
Yeah, I'm really nitpicky this episode. I don't know why. They believe they have 10 hours before the report is due, but in actuality, they only have 2. Hence, Ted reminding past Ted to wind his watch.
Which he doesn't do.
At all. They dial the right number and end up in current San Dimas in Bill's backyard, where Missy is gardening, and she seems only slightly confused by the sight of the phone booth.
I like how they're I don't know, making up fake names for all these people.
I have them all written down.
Either they're making up fake names or Ted just really couldn't remember them.
Yeah, well, I just have right here. Absolutely love them coming up with fake names to introduce them to Missy. Because we have Dave Beethoven, Maxine of Arc, Herman the Kid, Bob Genghis Khan, Socrates Johnson, Dennis Frood, and Abraham Lincoln.
I would be more concerned with Missy wondering how this phone booth appeared in the backyard and they've managed to clown car all of these people out of it.
Yeah,
I don't care about their names.
Yeah, they kind of like play her up as a complete idiot in this one scene. But also, you're talking about clown carring. Apparently, the world record for fitting people into a phone booth is currently at 28.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Bill needs Missy to take them to the mall, but she won't take him anywhere until his chores are done. So, of course, we get a funny but pointless scene of Bill and Ted getting these historical figures to clean the house.
Cleaning montage, yo.
Yeah. I do love Genghis Khan trying to like clean the toilet.
Drink out of it.
And
then they show like Billy the Kid sticking to his cheating ways is just shoving food into the drawers.
But this finally does get us to the mall. And I love how they've been put on the buddy system.
Yeah.
And have to be careful on the escalator. Because
Bill and Ted Socrates' robe could get pulled into those teeth, man.
It's true.
It's a hazard.
They're treating these people like children.
That kid is back on the escalator.
Coming up again. We're covering all of the movies that are in our intro. It's about time. Cut to the auditorium where the presentations of the history reports are underway.
These are awful.
They're terrible.
They're so awful.
I don't know why the boys think it's a smart move to leave the leaders at the food court to go find Deacon and get Napoleon.
They did the same thing. They like left Napoleon with Deacon, and then they leave all of them on their own. It's like, stop separating.
And they're obviously pissed that Deacon abandoned the military commander.
Of course.
Determined he probably ended up at the local water park, Waterloop.
Why? Why would you assume that Napoleon would be attracted by a water park?
It's because of the name.
Is it?
You know nothing of Napoleon, do you?
No, I don't.
The Battle of Waterloo.
You're the one who has a history degree, man. I have a philosophy degree.
Good point. All right. Well, that's some homework for you.
No, I'm not.
Look up Napoleon Bonaparte Waterloo. Oh. Sight gag. 11 children. Please. We need tickets. Napoleon wanders in as one of the kids. Because he's tiny, Sandro. Do you get it?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Okay.
What's the joke?
He's tiny.
Oh! I still don't get it.
Yeah, honestly, he really wasn't that short in real life.
No.
Everybody was pretty short at that time.
In history, people in general were much shorter.
Yeah, and we're talking like early 19th century here.
Yeah.
I do love the water slide montage with him, though, because while he's terrified to go down the first slide because they just throw him in, he has so much fun that he just cuts in line and like bullies kids out of the way and just dives down. But there is one slide that fucks him up real good, and it's never really addressed. You don't see the aftermath.
He's like tumbling upside down in all different ways.
Thrown side to side. And it's from like a wide shot, too, so you can see him just flipping around and like cracking his head and landing on his ass and spinning around.
Where did he get this swimsuit? Or whatever the hell it is that he's wearing in this water park?
Early 19th century French undergarments.
I honestly had the same thought. I'm like, is this what he was wearing for underwear?
It has to be.
All right.
back at the mall, the leaders have begun to wander. And I find this really fun, too, because Joan of Arc discovers aerobics. Beethoven discovers a music store. And Socrates and Billy the Kid, I feel like, are becoming best friends.
I would watch a movie of these two.
Me too. Oh, yeah, me too. I totally would. Just even this one scene of them trying to pick up girls is ridiculous. And not just girls, but like Valley girls, man.
Young girls, too. How old is Socrates here?
Oh, God. Definitely 60s, 70s.
Yeah, maybe Billy the Kid, but if I was those girls, I'd just be like, go away, old man.
Yeah, and I don't know how old Billy is here, but I mean
the actor's not too old.
Yeah, but Billy the Kid was dead at 21.
So he's probably not that old.
And there, so it's not so weird for him. Genghis Khan finds that an aluminum baseball bat is a perfect replacement for his club. Well, in a sports
it was a wooden
store.
bat.
It wasn't wooden.
I thought it was.
A silver wooden bat?
No, I don't think it was silver.
I'm pretty sure it was silver. It doesn't matter. Who's nitpicking now? Both of us.
Not nitpicking. You just ruined the movie for me.
I honestly have no idea what to say to that.
Oh, man, I'm good at that today.
Getting under my skin? Yeah, man. Just leaving in awkward silences.
No, keep going.
5 minutes, you leave this shit in.
No.
No, okay. Abe gets his photo taken in one of those historical photography little booths.
Yeah.
And I love how the photographer's like, all right, I need the coat and hat and beard back. And
Didn't you see him come in with them?
Yeah, and he's arguing that they're his.
It's like, well, do your inventory. There's a hat right there, man. This is mine.
And next we get the chase montage with all of the leaders. I think it's a lot of fun, but again, going back to Billy the Kid and Socrates, them running through the hall, and like Billy's got his actual gun out, and Socrates is running after him, smiling with a water pistol.
He's just having fun, man.
He's having fun, but we have to assume he stole that.
Why are they chasing all of them exactly?
I don't know.
I understand why they're chasing Genghis Khan, because he was destroying the mannequin in the store with the bat.
Yeah.
Maybe even Joan of Arc taking over the class. Obviously, that's a disruption. But
yeah, if you have demo models to be like played in a music store, and Beethoven is there doing such a fantastic job that he's amassed a crowd of people who are really into what he's doing, that's a fantastic advertisement for your store. You don't call security for that. No,
you would think that they would, if they really wanted to, they would just start by telling him, hey man, stop playing the instruments. But they just go right to arresting all of them because somehow they know they're all together, even though they're nowhere near each other in the mall.
Yeah. Also, Abe. Abe getting arrested is weird because, like, if they called security on him and they show up and like, what's going on here? And like you said, like, well, he's trying to steal my gear. And like, can you prove it? No. Abe goes free.
Chances are, if he actually had that gear, it would still be there.
Exactly. Like, no chances. Guaranteed.
It'd be like, you mean this hat that's sitting right here on your like inventory? Like that one right there. That is clearly not the one he's wearing on his head.
And as I said, they're all arrested. And the first thing we see here makes me laugh even harder because it's Socrates' reaction to flash photography for the first time. And yeah, like you said, I really want to see Billy the Kid and Socrates' excellent adventure.
The actor who plays Socrates, I didn't look up the name, I apologize. But
Tony Steedman.
He does some fantastic facial expression work in this movie.
Yeah. He's absolutely amazing. He was in Scrooged. I don't know if you've seen Scrooged or not.
Don't think so.
Okay. Next, we get the Football Jocks history report.
San Dimas football rules.
Yeah. Exactly. I missed that. Yeah, San Dimas high school football rules.
Yeah.
And you were saying that was an Atari song?
Yep.
On like one of the Punkorama collections?
Has absolutely nothing to do lyrically with the movie, but the name of the song is San Dimas High School Football Rules.
I will check that out after recording. The boys discuss breaking the leaders out of jail. in a scene that is honestly, I think, way too smart for this movie.
I'm going to be honest with you. This scene didn't work with me. It honestly felt like the movie had some fantastic self-aware writing. And then this point, it just, to me, felt like we wrote ourselves into the corner. How are we going to get out of this? We'll just have them tell themselves they're going to do all of this in the future. It just seems too convenient, and I hate to use the word, but almost a little lazy compared to the rest of the writing.
Really? Mm-hmm. I disagree.
Okay.
I feel like, yes, it's not a fit with the movie because it's too smart for the characters. I really enjoy it. Like, they're not going to be able to break them out in time to get them to the history report. So they go do the history report. Then afterwards, go back in time, steal Ted's father's keys, and leave them at the station so they can break out the leaders and then go do the history report again. That's a lot for Ted and Bill to come up with. And before this point, we've never seen them do anything that smart. No,
but it is a nice callback to the keys, because Ted's even like, whoa, I actually did steal the keys.
Yeah. And this also makes me wonder something too, Sandro. And that is, do you think they actually went and did the report without the leaders, or did they just no-show and fail?
No, I think they honestly just made themselves a mental note to do these things. I don't think they went to do the report.
You don't think they did?
No, I honestly think that they just said, all right, we're going to remember to do these things after so that they loop in time-wise, because they don't even leave the station at this point.
No, I know. So we have to assume that there is a timeline where they just no-showed the report and failed.
No way to know, man.
Yeah, I like that idea, though. I mean, we just have to assume they failed either way. But the jailbreak works with the use of a tape recorder, which I actually don't like. It's way too convenient. And not like them going back and recording a tape of Ted trying to distract his father, but the space between comments and questions from Ted for his father to react to is just timed so perfectly. And yes, I know it's a nitpick, but I think it's a justifiable nitpick because it's a glaring issue. And follow that up with a trash can falling onto Ted's father's head.
You missed one that I really had an issue with, and it was the typewriter.
That? Oh, yeah.
Right? Because you could say, though, we hid the tape recorder on the bookshelf and nobody looked at it. But you're telling me that because the keys went missing 2 days prior, which means that's when they went back to set this all up. You're telling me that in 2 days, nobody else looked at this typewriter where they wrote this message for them to duck? Like, I know I'm nitpicking, but this genuinely was the one segment of the movie that I didn't enjoy.
Yeah. It's getting a little busy in a very short time. But luckily for us, this chunk of the movie is over. Like, there were some really good parts, some kind of meandering bits, but now we're going right up to the history report.
Correct.
And I love all of it. I love the introductions, the individual introductions that the figures get. They finally get Socrates' name right somehow.
Yeah, they said Socrates.
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 That's what I'm saying, Socrates.
The demonstrations are next. Did you have a favorite demonstration?
No, not really.
No? I thought Freud was really good because he just breaks down the relationship between Ted and his father.
I think it would have worked a little bit better if they had like a cut to the dad realizing it.
But, yeah, agreed. But
honestly, I liked Billy the Kid's introduction and shooting out the light the most.
It's
like nobody was like, dude with a gun on the stage in a school.
Yeah, there's also a weird lighting routine going on. I don't know who planned that.
But they went back in time later on and set it all up. And
Yeah, they went to like technical school and figured it all out.
They also remembered when they went back in time to put a backpack with a Nerf ball and a bunch of puddings and gum into the phone booth too. So
These are geniuses.
yeah,
My favorite demonstration, though, going back a second, has to be Napoleon explaining his plan to invade Russia, and Ted looking at the plan and just being like, "I don't think it's going to work." And like, you know nothing of Napoleon. That was his downfall. So it's a nice little nod to actual history, but the fact that Ted, who knows nothing of history, tells Napoleon, one of the greatest strategists ever, that his plan's going to fail.
Yeah, there you go.
And of course, the report is a resounding success. And one thing I feel like we miss out on is that they all enter the phone booth and off screen, everyone's returned to their own time. I really would have liked to seen people's reactions to these characters returning.
Reappearing.
Yeah. Because I think that's a perfect opportunity to show how history might have been starting to veer off course. And then when they're returned, everything kind of falls back into plan.
Yeah.
This movie has given us so many good things that I feel greedy wanting more, but I just feel like it's a missed opportunity.
I want to make one random comment before we move forward.
Okay.
During the presentation, when Abraham Lincoln gives his solemn, somber speech followed with "Party on, dudes."
Mm-hmm.
When he throws his hands into the air and says "Party on, dudes," there is something about his facial expression that just makes me think of my friend Alex. And I will never get it out of my head. I don't know why. I fully expect no one to know what the heck I'm talking about here, but I'm leaving it in the episode.
Fair enough. Back at the garage, Ted ruminates on their recent accomplishments and regrets that nothing has changed their situation in life. And I love the exchange of Bill, starting with Bill, I should say. Maybe we should get Eddie Van Halen. And Ted replies, maybe we should learn how to play.
That's a good idea, man.
I think it's an interesting attempt at showing character growth, like drive and responsibility, not just let life slip by, but actually, take action, move towards your goals, build towards something.
Yeah. And which one of the two does that?
All of them.
Mm-hmm.
All of the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Rufus arrives with the princesses and congratulates them on their report. And again, I just removing people from existence has no effect on history. It just blows my mind. But
you can't, the time travel elements are so messed up in this. You can't just.
I know. That's why I'm just breezing past it. But Rufus has introduced the princesses to the mall and has bought them new wardrobes. But whose names are on the credit cards? Where is this money coming from?
Future Rufus.
So the money doesn't exist yet.
It's just a gag, man. Get over it.
Rufus gets the boys' autographs for his kids. The guys' minds are blown when it's revealed that the entire foundation of future society was built from Wild Stallions music. Before leaving, Rufus requests to jam with them. He admits it's horrible, but tells the audience that they will get better. And cut to black, roll credits. Did you audibly yawn into the microphone?
No.
It sounded like a major yawn. I thought it was a dig at the ending.
Nope.
All right, time for numbers. Sandro,
Right.
Was this an expensive film?
I have to imagine not really. They kept a lot of stuff, special effects wise, off camera.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff that they did keep in, such as that terrible Rufus doll, I'd say 11 million.
Yeah, they were very, very smart with how they spent their money. It was 10 million, so you're almost right on.
Close.
And I think it looks like a $10 million movie, maybe more, a little bit, but definite brilliant use of the funding they had. As far as gross goes, do you think it was successful?
I mean, it spawned a sequel very soon after in an animated cartoon, so I would say it was probably pretty successful.
Yeah.
30 million?
40.5.
Okay. Yeah, even better.
Yeah, that's great. Even there's no bad reviews for it through IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes. So your first guess for Internet Movie Database. Out of 10.
I find this one's a little bit more of a stickler.
Correct.
7.7.
6.9.
See? I didn't even go low enough.
It's better on both scores and Rotten Tomatoes. What do you think the critics gave it?
I'm going to go with 7.7 again.
82.
Okay.
Audience?
90.
75.
Oh, jeez, I am terrible today.
I just find it strange that the critics love this movie more than the average viewer.
Yeah, I did not expect that.
No, me neither. But moving forward, man, going right into awards, I'm really curious to know who your least favorite and favorite characters are.
Okay, well, you're going to have to wait because you start us off with least favorite.
I'm really excited to find out who my least favorite and most favorite characters are. My least favorite has to be Captain Logan, played by Hal Landon Jr., but we're not supposed to like him, so that tracks. Like, he's just a frustrating, annoying character who doesn't really learn anything throughout the story of the film. He's just, I wouldn't say an antagonist, but he antagonizes his son. He's incredibly mean, does not even try to understand where Ted's coming from, and is punishing him for his own insecurities. So, great performance, just least favorite character.
I had the exact same thing. I had Captain Logan, and just like you, it wasn't because of the performance. The actor did a perfectly fine job. It was things like, okay, I get the idea of being a hard-nosed parent that needs to discipline his child, make sure he's on the right course, but then turning around and not even giving him the chance to do it before you've decided that you're sending him, like, it's just not a cool... That's a bogus move, man.
Good use of term.
I just thought of it myself right now. I don't think anybody's ever used that phrase before. You hate me today.
Favorite character?
There's a very deep-rooted bias in this, but I'm going with George Carlin as Rufus.
Okay. Interesting.
And it's because it's George Carlin.
He was fantastic.
I mean, this is a person who I legitimately had CDs of his stand-up.
Really?
Yeah, like my entire CD collection was music, and then I had George Carlin stand-up on CDs that I bought in the store. Like, I was a big fan. Idea. And even still, to say, like, his performance was still fantastic, too. He was a great choice for the voice of reason and this kind of guide from the future. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to pretend that there isn't a lot of bias behind this award, and it's my award, so too bad.
Yeah. No, it's great. George Carlin was absolutely amazing. And I would say in almost everything I've seen him in or seen him do.
What about you?
I'm going to have to go with Socrates.
Great choice.
Tony Steedman does such a great job. Like, I mean, if you want to call him Socrates, he's just so lovable. I love how
so Socrates.
Fuck off. They took such a serious historical figure and made him jovial, fun-loving, full of wonder, that every time he's on screen, I'm smiling. Like, and we've said repeatedly, pairing him up with Billy the Kid, I mean, it feels like it should be a duo for favorite character because they play off of each other so well.
It's just, he's also the perfect character to show how Bill and Ted's, like, unbridled enthusiasm is infectious. Yeah. And just gets these people to, like, relax and have fun.
Yep.
All right. What did you have for favorite or most memorable line?
Most memorable line is obviously "Strange things are afoot at the Circle K."
Yeah.
But my favorite line deals with one of the big issues I have with the movie, if you want to nitpick, and that's Bill saying to Billy the Kid, "Billy, you are dealing with the oddity of time travel with the greatest of ease." And all of them are. None of them are terrified. Like, no one's having a mental breakdown. No one's having a heart attack with the immediate change of being thrust into different time periods. You think most of these people psychologically would be destroyed. And this is what you said before, like how there are so many things you can nitpick about this movie, but the writers have already thought about it and they address it in one sentence and move on, never to look back at it. Yeah, and that's what this line is. And it's perfect because, yeah, it's like, you're doing a great job, man. Moving on.
Yep. Yeah, it's very
such a
much
good tool for screenwriting.
It's very much like, yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Either take it or leave it.
What about you?
I put Strange Things Are Afoot at the Circle K. I mean, you can't take something that is in the intro of our show that I've heard ad nauseum at this point and not have it be my most memorable line.
Yeah. Is it your favorite, though?
I don't know, man. That's it. Picking a movie that's in our intro really kind of got me into a corner with some of this stuff. But
game over, man.
I'll give you a bit of a heads up on what some of my potential favorite lines are when you pick those other movies.
All right, moving on to a memorable scene then.
Oh, for me, hands down, the cleaning montage. I loved it. And here I am watching this movie, and it's not that to say this movie gets into very serious territory too often, but you're at this point where you're like, we're under the gun. We got to get to the presentation. Time is running out. And it's like, no, we're not driving until you do your chores. And then they give us this amazing montage with Al Leong trying to drink out of the toilet, Billy the Kid hiding food in the dresser. Socrates is like doing his own laundry. It's like, that's not helping with the house chores, but sure, I guess your robe needed a wash and an iron. Like,
and there's one weird part there too, where it's Freud vacuuming, and for some reason thinks to put the hose to his face. Mm-hmm. Like there is no reason why you would consider doing that.
And like Joan of Arc is washing the dishes in front of Billy the Kid, I think it is. And she's just got like the biggest smile on her face. And it's like, is she just not used to seeing like a reflection in like a plate? Like this is like, there's like a feeling of wonderment from them doing these just mundane tasks that we would normally call chores.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm with you for a memorable scene. It's if it wasn't the cleaning montage for me, it would have to be the guys coming up with new names to introduce the figures to Missy in the backyard. Because Dave Beef Oven is one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
Beef Oven?
Beef. TH. So,
all right. So why don't we get into your final thoughts on this movie?
I love it. I love everything about it, even the things I nitpick. I love talking about. The acting is great. The writing we've talked about is fantastic. The direction is wonderful. The follow-up, it made me excited for Bogus Journey before I even knew Bogus Journey was a thing. I just wanted to see more of these two guys. Alex Winter, Keanu Reeves nailed it. George Carlin nailed it. All of the historical figures were hilarious. There was never like a moment where I just kind of rolled my eyes. Yeah, there were a few issues here and there, like when the movie kind of got a little too smart for its own good. But, I mean, that was short-lived. It's a movie I could watch, and as soon as the credits are done, I could put it on again and still have a great time watching it. I recommend this movie to anybody. It's a blast. This is where you say, I hate this movie.
Not a chance, man. I love this movie.
It's so good.
This movie is a blast. I do have my complaints with just that little segment, pretty much in and around the arrest, where it feels like it drags a little bit to me. Though there is still some fun stuff in those scenes. But beyond that, and it's not enough to deter your feelings of the movie overall, it's just a fun movie. Like, I'm watching this movie. It's not the first, second, third time I've seen it. And yet I'm having a blast. I'm actually wanting to go and watch both sequels after. Because as I'm watching the movie, I'm like, I don't want to stop. I want more of these characters. I want to continue following their story.
Right?
That's just the sign of a fun movie that you can just get yourself into and have fun and just turn your brain off as much as you want to nitpick, Ben. But it's a great movie. And I want to stop recording and just go watch the next movies now.
So, safe to say we'll probably be covering Bogus Journey in the future?
I don't say anything about what we might or might not be doing in the future.
Okay.
I don't travel in time. I can't tell you the future. There's a lot of bad movies out there for us to cover.
I should say we are going to cover Bogus Journey in the future.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different.
Okay. Very good.
All right. So that was our thoughts on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, an excellent movie that we had an excellent time with. If you guys want to share your thoughts, you can always hit us up on social media. We are at BS Bargain Bin on Twitter, facebook.com/BS Bargain Bin. Of course, all of these links can be found on bsbargainbin.com, including the link to our merchandise. We got some sweet shirts out there. Absolutely check it out. There's a ton of deals going on leading up to Christmas as well. Ben.
Yes, sir.
Next week, you will be appearing on Rollin' Bones with Ryan Howard on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Central Time. People should tune in, check out YouTube, look for at Rollin' Bones, ROLLIN. But what movie are you and I going to be doing next week?
We will be covering 2008's Dragonlance, Dragons of Autumn Twilight.
Based on the New York Times best-selling novel,
Chaos, war, death. That is what I see.
featuring the voices of Lucy Lawless, Michael Rosenbaum, Dragonlance. After 300 years of peace, the evil goddess Takhisis and her unstoppable army of dragons have descended upon the mystic world of Kryn. Now, a handful of warriors must battle the forces of darkness in a struggle to save all they hold dear. But will even their great courage be enough when the final battle begins? Dragonlance. Dragons of Autumn Twilight.
Until next week, have a good one.
Be excellent to each other.